What's up, guys? Welcome to my new video series called A Gut Feeling. We're gonna explore this whole process I'm going through to heal my insides. This is the first episode and we're gonna go through my initial health assessment and my food intolerances. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know that over the last year or two, I've dealt with a whole crazy amount of health stuff, from pneumonia to crazy outbursts of rashes that I can't explain, to unsuccessful allergy testing, to ending up in the ER for muscle injuries. So I've had like my fair share over the last 2 years of problems. It's not totally foreign to me. My whole life I've had these weird, mysterious problems. I broke 2 toes doing pole when I was older, but growing up, I never broke bones. I never had any diagnosis besides eczema and asthma, but I always had these weird things. I woke up one morning and I just couldn't walk on my left foot and I couldn't go to school because of it. So it's not really foreign to me to have these little problems, but in the last year, it's really been catching up with me, and it's gotten to the point where I don't even have energy anymore because all of these things are just draining me, and I can't do my day-to-day work. So I've really started to dig in and look at why that is, and I want to share that with you guys so that hopefully it can help some of you guys. So I was kind of looking into stuff on and off, and then randomly when we were in Vancouver, I came across this graphic on Instagram, this one right here. And it honestly blew my mind. It was a diagram that explained leaky gut, and leaky gut was something I'd heard of once before, and funnily enough, when I heard it, I actually thought somebody was using it as an expression, just oh, I understand that, leaky gut, things aren't going well inside you, it's almost like it's all leaking, and I didn't realize it was a real thing until I saw this diagram. So as you can see in the diagram, it connects all these different problems you have with your body to your gut. It covers my eczema, my asthma, my joint pain, my muscle problems, my severe bloating I get when we travel, and the really bad stomach pains I'll get after certain meals. So I found this diagram and I just started diving in. So I was doing a lot of my own research, and it was super interesting, and it was a lot of emotion. So I was really, really excited because the more I looked into it, the more I realized it was something I most likely had. And it was the first time it felt like I had a concrete answer, because I just never really get that. So I was really excited, but then I was also really overwhelmed and anxious because reading up on it, it's a really crazy process to fix. And it's not oh, you just need this one medication from your doctor. It's really a grassroots approach, and you just have to dig in and fix a lot of stuff that's going on inside of you. So I was pretty intimidated by it. I posted on Instagram, handy dandy Instagram, and I mentioned it in my story, and I said, has anyone heard of leaky gut? Has anyone had an experience with it? And I had some awesome answers, and more than that, I had some people send over some awesome contacts. So fast forward a week, we're back in Ottawa, and I connected with Jay. And Jay is based out of Toronto. He's a holistic health coach, and he's currently getting his PhD in natural medicine. So we, started talking, and he was quick to say let's jump on a call, let's help you figure out what's going on. So he sent me over huge questionnaires. I thought it was gonna take me 15 minutes, and I probably did it for 2 hours one night. So when I answered some of these questions, I had that same mixed bag of emotions as I did when I first looked into leaky gut. I was really excited because some of the questions were so specific, but so relevant to me. When you're laying in bed, do you have pain in your right shoulder? And I'm yes. Or questions that had to do with my eczema. And there was a huge range of questions. It went from really small, things about bowel movements to things about do small things make you really angry or angrier than you think they should? So it was this huge, huge questionnaire. And then the next day we jumped on our call. So I'll play you guys a little bit of the main parts of the call right now.
All right, we got it. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm better than you, for sure. So that is you. Now, if we look at this section here, we see high priority,
yeah,
moderate, and low. And as you can notice, most of your ticks
yeah,
are in the high section. Okay, so what that essentially means, so every single section in this questionnaire breaks, I'm going to send this to you after so you have it, like a photo, but every single section breaks down into different organ systems, okay? Now, the 4 most important organ systems are gastrointestinal, liver, gallbladder, endocrine, and glucose. Now, you know, we read left to right, so essentially they're the first 4 categories, and they dictate everything else on this chart, right? And the reason for that is gastrointestinal is how you break food down and absorb it. Liver, gallbladder, your filtration system and your ability to absorb fats. Hormones are made of fats. Also, if you're not absorbing fats, then your body's ability to produce energy goes down the wayside. Liver, gallbladder, it's our detox system, obviously. Endocrine, so we're looking at adrenals and thyroid. So that's your body's like regulatory system, right? That's a lot of what we call autonomic functions. So those are things that the body, doesn't really, you don't really control it. It does it by itself, right? And then glucose regulation. So that's blood sugar, right? So we look at meals and, pre-diabetics and pancreas and all of that stuff. Now, those 4 categories are almost like the 4 pillars of the body. And if you're messed up in either one of those 4, you get issues everywhere else, right? Yeah. And so before I even focus on worrying about, other things in the system, my goal is to get those 4 categories as low as we can get them.
So at this point, if you guys are enjoying the video, I do ask that you go and hit the like button. I really want to share this content with you guys because I know when I looked into it, I couldn't find that much information, and most of the information I found was from people who experienced the same symptoms and couldn't really find much information. So I really want to help you guys put it out there and see maybe you have some problems that you don't realize are connected to your gut, and they might actually be. So hit that like button and we'll keep rolling. So after that first call, our first steps were to eliminate a few things from my diet. So that included dairy, gluten, and pork. So I didn't think this would be very hard because I don't eat a lot of pastas. When it comes to dairy, like I use almond milk, I have maybe 1 Greek yogurt a day. But what I quickly learned was how much dairy is in products that we don't even realize. So if you have a sensitivity and don't know it, you might eat, those crunchy veggie sticks, and that might actually bother your stomach because those contain milk. Nutella, for example, obviously when you break it down, you think about it, it makes sense that there's milk in it, but that's something you don't think of as dairy when you're talking about the dairy that you eat in your day. So I started to eliminate these, and it was a little tough at first because I just have some core meals and some of those were now gone. But I again went to Instagram, got some awesome suggestions from a lot of people on like gluten-free and dairy-free alternatives. And it wasn't so bad in the end. I started to adjust, and being gluten and dairy-free today is so much easier than in the past because there's just there's just labels on everything that say gluten-free, dairy-free, and there's so many more options. So luckily, this happened to me at a time where so many people are choosing to be gluten-free, so it made it a lot easier. So after a few days, I felt like I started to get a pretty good handle on the gluten-free, dairy-free side of things, and then I went and did food intolerance testing, or food sensitivity testing. So I'm gonna play you guys a little clip from it so you can see how it works, but essentially it's frequency-based testing. So it's different from allergy testing because you're not getting the scratches on your arms, and it's also looking for something a little bit different in us. It doesn't mean that you're allergic to them, it means that you're intolerant to them, so your body doesn't like it. And luckily that is something we can fix over time, so hopefully these foods eventually I won't be intolerant to. But I'm gonna play you guys a little clip so you can see what some of that process looks like.
These are all the ones that we're testing. Okay. Scrape it up for you. There you go. Now, each time we're going to get a different bar. Now, if it ends up inside of this green bar, then you're okay. So what I'm doing is I'm testing your circulation meridian line against the frequency. It goes through your body, and then it collects a reading. And based on how your body reacts to set frequency, tells us, if it's good or bad for you.
So as you guys can see, it is a pretty simple test. I was really happy to find out that my arm wasn't gonna get scratches all over it because I definitely thought that's what the test would be. And Jay had mentioned we were gonna test over 200 items, and I was like, oh my God, I'm literally just gonna be like scratches everywhere. But luckily it was really simple. In terms of my results, a few of them were super disappointing and some of them were like kind of funny. Some of the disappointing ones would be things like broccoli, shrimp, onion and salt. Those are things that I didn't really realize how much I like to eat. Some of the funnier ones were cantaloupe and asparagus, because I honestly hate both of those, and my family always tries to make me eat asparagus, and now I'm like, oh, I'm intolerant, that's why I don't like it. Yeah, so a lot of intolerances right now, and keep in mind this doesn't mean these are bad foods, it just means that right now my body can't handle them. So I'm gonna throw up a list of these on the screen and I'm gonna read them out to you. And the fact that I have to get my phone for this probably tells you a lot. So I tried to order them from like most likely to be in foods that I eat to least likely, just so that when I look at it in my phone, if I need to reference it, I have that in mind. So, sea salt, mushrooms, onions, romaine lettuce, leaf lettuce. So I'm okay with iceberg lettuce, which is the least nutritious, but still good with things like spinach, so that works. Shrimp, white potatoes, broccoli, eggplant, cantaloupe, wild rice, pecans, pine nuts, lobster, stevia but not aspartame. So that was really interesting to me. So I can't have stevia, but I could have, you know, like those equal packs. I am trying to go healthier overall, so I would actually pick like a raw sugar over that now, but interesting that it's different. Yellow dye specifically, which was also really interesting because a lot of people are sensitive to red or blue dyes. Again, makes it a little bit easier because I haven't come across anything yet that has yellow dye in it. Carrageenan, avocado oil, peanut oil, cinnamon. Cinnamon was also really disappointing because cinnamon is in so many foods. Like any apple flavored thing basically has cinnamon in it. And I actually like, excuse me. I actually like to put cinnamon on my chai lattes and stuff like that. So that was a really disappointing one. Like I've always loved cinnamon. Rosemary, cayenne pepper, yellow squash, and that's it. I am still trying to eliminate gluten, dairy, and pork. I didn't show as intolerant on the test, but once you get into it, like gluten in America is very different than gluten in Europe, for example. So people who are gluten intolerant sometimes go to Europe and they can eat the foods there and then they come back and they're still gluten intolerant. So it has to do with how we process our foods too. But in general, a lot of people have trouble processing and digesting gluten or dairy. So we're still keeping those out for now while we let my gut do its thing. So I have quite a limited list, but I'm really excited for it because I think it's gonna push me to make healthier choices. I've already noticed like it's very different from tracking macros for me because we travel so much. I realized how much I cheated or took it easy with macros. So if we were out all day and just super exhausted, I would be like, screw it, like let's get McDonald's or let's get a pizza. Whereas now like I can't really eat foods from McDonald's because when you break it down, like pretty much everything has salt on it, first of all, but most of the things have something that I can't have. So it's really forcing me to make healthier choices and to eat those whole foods and bring things like fruit back into my diet that I've kind of slacked on. So yeah, I hope that was helpful for you guys. A little bit about my initial health assessment and a little bit about my food intolerances so far. So keep watching. I'm gonna do some other videos for you guys, including my experience with liver gallbladder cleanses and whatever else we come across on this way. All right, thanks for watching guys. I hope this video was helpful and I'll see you in the next one.